How are you guys doing? Yeah. I have to thank my longtime friend Mike Taylor and his fiance Veronica for saving the day and opening Hackfort for me while I was troubleshooting technology issues across the festival this morning. You should have seen me. We had the tech challenge and I just ran in I'm here. But anyways, thank you guys so much. I'm super stoked to have Liz Taylor out today. She is one of the women that I was connected with through my friend Jess Fruman at iWit. And, one of the pillars of my event, I'm all about celebrating the workforce, diversity, inclusion. iWit's an organization that really represents that in a big way. And I'm so stoked to have Liz. She got, we've been collaborating back and forth via email for a while. And she's like, Sean, what do you think of this? A lot of text
messages and calls too. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is fine? Is it good? Yeah.
I'm like, you're going to do great, Liz. You're going to do great. Liz also helped bring a bunch of mentors to our mentor speed dating yesterday. How was that?
It was really good.
It sounded loud and busy.
Maybe 35 people or so and a lot of mentors. That was awesome. I'm just really fortunate to work with a company that allows us to do these fun things. We get 2 volunteer days, guys. That's awesome. And we have these committees and it's just it's a fun company to be with in a fun techie world.
If I wasn't part of Treefort, I'd probably be fighting for volunteer day at Count because that means you get a Treefort wristband. Well, at least for that.
Yeah, no, I try to keep that one on the DL. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll just 3 blind volunteers. And I'm like, okay, yeah, people that can commit with absolutely no, what are we doing? Oh, I don't really know. Okay, that's fine. But they're there, they're committed. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Okay, right. I feel really fortunate.
Well, awesome. Well, Liz, I'm going to turn it over to you. We will have time for Q&A, and I will have someone in the room with a microphone. So even if Liz wants someone to raise a hand, we'll have someone run over with a mic because we are recording this. So we want to make sure we capture that.
No pressure.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Have fun,
Thanks,
Liz.
Sean.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. I hate public speaking. But it's my goal this year to participate in more public speaking so I can get over my fear and be a better person in life. And that's so I'm just going to start out with that. Also, the 5 number in here, I wrote that a while ago. You're going to get 10 scenarios, I think, today. So but it's about encouraging more people and more women to be in tech. And that doesn't mean you have to be a developer to do that. You don't have to write code to be at a software company. So when I kind of blew that. Okay, next slide. When you hear, oh, I work at a software company, what comes to mind? Shout out some answers. What do you think of? Coding, yeah. Anybody, come on. Nerd, yeah, I love that. Okay. This is a lot of white, this sounds bad, but a lot of just a lot of men, and I'm going to leave out race and religion in this, but there are some stereotypical scenarios that you might think of that maybe you didn't say, but there's a lot of this. These are all great people. This is from Taft Elementary. We brought we fundraised some money for robotics, and we delivered these little robotic cars that teach the kids early coding, but early them skills. I think it's now STEAM, but some STEM skills, and it was really fun. And we went and set it all up. So that was for them. All right. So my name's Liz Taylor, and I'm a social content strategist at Count. It's an Equifax company. It's on 10th and Main. We sell software to other businesses, and that's not really sexy, especially on social media. It's really difficult to do that. So it's my job to make that fun. And so I'm always telling people stories, and my background, let's see here. I went to Boise State. I graduated. I worked at the university for 6 years. And then I was like, okay, we got to make some money now. Got to enter corporate America. And I was like, oh, I worked at Boise State and was like, if we do this, you guys, we can have an ice cream party. And I was like, oh, okay. I need to I did it a little bit more. And I also started as an intern. And I was I worked my way up, and then I couldn't grow in my position. I had to become a faculty member to be able to grow. And that just didn't sit right with me. I was like, hey, if I get, a master's degree, can I get paid more? And they were like, no. And I was like, you gotta be serious. You gotta be kidding me. So I went to Count, and it was First day, you walk in, oh yeah, casual work environment. They greeted you with like a swag bag, and here's like a Yeti, and and here's a North Face backpack, and like, oh yeah, here's like a MacBook Pro, but you'll get a new one in 6 months. And I was like, holy moly, okay, we're stepping it up here. I still have to like fight for like, oh my gosh, do you think they'll let me get a Mac? And I'm like, here's a MacBook. I'm like, wow, okay, night and day difference. So I was like, we've made it. Let's see here. So why tech? It's fast paced. It's a real work hard, play hard environment. It's challenging, but like if you can figure out a product and understand it, you got it. You're in. Also, there's fun tokens. Like I'm on an activities committee, and we asked for like, oh, can we have like a budget? And they gave us $3,000 this year. And I was like, okay, this is sweet. No more ice cream parties. All right. So remember, you can. Joelle, who I feature in my presentation here, she says, remember that the technology field needs more women, and your presence can make a significant impact. Also, you don't have to have a degree to be in tech. There's so many people at my company, they just are Hi, Thomas. Sorry, my ADHD is strong. So you don't have to have a degree. There's, I know several people within the company that they're just looking for your skills. Like, what can you bring to the table? Are you capable of this? Yeah, you're capable of it. Just do it. Don't limit yourself. So if you're thinking like, hey, I want to do this, but I don't have a 4-year degree, or I dropped out of college, don't limit yourself with that. Doesn't matter. No one cares. Okay, so I reached out to several of my colleagues, and I feel super grateful because they all gave me awesome responses back. And I was like, I honestly cried reading through all of them. And I was like, this is so cool. I just felt so, I don't know, just so grateful for everyone. Anyway, so Sarah, here's some of my coworkers. We're going to start with Riley. Riley works in, like I would say, she works in sales. When I first joined the sales crew, one of the team members was like, welcome to the Thunderdome. And I was like, oh boy, like there is protein powder on everyone's desks and like Zins and all sorts of, it's just a very male dominated environment. But this girl kicks ass. Like she is amazing. She's our enterprise business development. So she's sales, she's calling people, and her experience is 2 years. This is a picture of her. She won business development rep for 2022 at our sales kickoff we had in February. And she talks about her experience after graduation. A friend got her involved. So you can just hop right out of school and then boom, land a job. So you don't have to have like a lot of experience. We have several positions that, don't require experience. We provide a lot of on-the-job training. All right. So I asked everyone, what's your superpower? Because I feel like women bring superpowers to the workplace, especially in tech, because we're not a majority in it anyway. So I'm like, how do I say this nicely? So something that stood out to me, you guys can read this. I'm not going to try to not read off the slides, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I enjoy getting on the phone with somebody and lighting up their day just by being kind and relatable. When you're talking to people, just like be a human, be a nice human, and like, hey, that can be your job, But she crushes it. She also says, I think it's important to be creative and open-minded. I feel so fortunate to have I love my Boise State experience. I worked with I worked in nursing. So it was tons of strong, powerful, very well-educated women. And now I get to also experience that in tech. So I feel really cool. Just so fortunate. Anyway, so Riley's advice for anybody that was looking into getting into tech, she says something that stood out. I think finding a team such as enablement or your mentor to break things down helps you get up to speed and back on track. And I also, our enablement team is amazing. They're always doing trainings. I'm going to touch on Joya a little bit later, but our next candidate is Jessica. And Jessica is on my team. She is brilliant. She's a content manager, but she is writing all the content for the website. She is writing she helps me with some of my content. And it's not easy to write about oh yeah, the machine learning and the AI driven gets you to this Omni score that within a millisecond. I'm like, no, we're not going to talk about, and the single SDK. No, we got to break that down. What the hell is that? Sorry for my swearing. Jessica, so she has 11 years of experience. This is also her at the sales kickoff. She won, marketing excellence. She just joined our company. So our company acquired another company, and she joined, and I was like, oh, we just joined. We had awesome people before, but I think our team was 7 and now it's 14. And so now we have a slew of designers, and we had 2, but now we have 4. I'm like, this is great. And, we just have resources. And when I was working at Boise State, it was limited resources. So this is just so cool to be in this environment. So you have resources. Jessica, I think she was living in, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Nicaragua, I want to say. Yeah. And so she was living down there. And so she was like, okay, I don't speak Spanish. So looks like I'm going to just get a job remote. So she joined, I think, a chargeback company. And then she ended up going to Mitigator. Now she's with Count. And so we're so happy to have her. So, of course, the content writer gave me awesome responses back. Pretty lengthy, too. So are we shocked? No, not really. Obviously, writing is her superpower. She just goes on. You can kind of read this quote. And she says, I'm not a writer, but really we're all writers. Every single one of us communicates by email or text. Writing well is a superpower we should all possess. Who uses Grammarly? Here, anybody? Yeah, we all love that. She is Grammarly. Any advice for anybody looking to get into tech? I mean, she quotes Albert Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. She says, if the tech industry hires men over and over again, that, according to Einstein, is insanity. But she says, you as a female bring a different perspective to the industry. You have unique ideas, problem-solving strategies, and through process. And that uniqueness is exactly what the industry needs. And be proud of that. She's a mom, too. I'm I just feel like I can hear her voice. And I'm you got this. All right. So we have Neil, and Neil is so fun. She is the only female solutions engineer on our team, but she rocks it. Does anybody know what a solutions engineer is, or do we need to? Okay, so a solutions engineer, Thomas, you might have to help me on this, a little hand-holding, but they work with our sales team and the clients, and they help clients kind of get through tough, sticky situations. Is that kind of maybe on point-ish? Okay, so yeah, they're with the solutions. Got it. All right, so Neil has 2 years experience, and she has a chemical engineering degree. I was like, oh, what? I did not know. I learned a little bit about my coworkers even more. I thought I knew them, but I really don't. But she has a chemical engineering degree, and I was like, wow, okay. You're incredible. A few days ago, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm using you. And she's like, oh, I'm so happy to be part of this. Yeah, please do. And she was like, I usually work with, she is a corresponding sales rep that she usually works with. And she goes, the other day I got to work with Brooke. And it was so cool being able to work with another female. And that just doesn't happen in my world ever. But it was I got to work with her. And she was like, it was just so cool. And it was such a different approach to how we came to the solution. And I was like, okay, I'm going to mention that. So what's your superpower? Organization and optimization. There has to be a better way of doing this. Technical problem solving. And Her advice says networking opens most doors. In addition to understanding the position and its place within the business, helps demonstrate perspective. And I would say networking totally got me the job that I have now. Like, I definitely recommend it. And you're all here, so that's like, a little networking. Lydia was at the mentorship networking yesterday, so props to her. So Leah is obviously a pretty new graduate. She's been with us for 11 months. Yes. So she started at an intern at a flower company, and low-key, the flower company had some pretty toxic culture. Dead flowers. But yeah, you're welcome for that. I'll be here all day. No, I'm just kidding. No, so she kind of got referred over. We hired another email content strategist, and then she was like, hey, we're looking for another one. So we kind of got her, we pulled her in we saved her from the flower business. So she was able to she does a lot of our email stuff, but she's also a part of our demand gen team. So she is also coordinating different events, and she's actually attending her first event, I think later at the end of this month or something like that. So really proud of her. And she's working with her mentor right now on like speaking up and finding her voice. And her mentor has an excellent voice, so I'm really excited for her. So her strengths, she talks about, are empathy and harmony, and they allow her to connect with other people and communicate effectively. She was instrumental in helping me sit down and be like, okay, Liz, this is what we're gonna do. She just brought out her computer and like whipped out this template that they used for like a conference. And she just was like, okay, what are we going to do? Let's do some brainstorming and let's get this structured. And I was like, all right, Leah. She's like, oh no, I'd rather be doing this with you than we're actually working right now. I'm like, okay, yeah, we've all been there at the end of the day. I feel you. But she also says having the ability to learn a complex concept and then simplifying it. I feel like that's a lot of what we're doing within Count. You can attest to that too. Advice from Leah. She says, for me, I was afraid that my limited background in the industry would keep me from being successful in my role. And I feel that is a lot. Like, I felt that. But we have such an awesome team. We're constantly doing trainings. They're always like, oh yeah, just join this training, blah, blah, blah. It'll be recorded, it'll be online, or you can watch it later, or whatever if you're busy. But like, our company does a really good job about educating its employees, and we're very focused on keeping up with what's coming, what's next, and that's just kind of, I guess, tech. Our next one, we have Adriana. Lydia, you probably met Adriana yesterday. She was part of our speed mentoring. Adriana is phenomenal. She is, let's see, I'm gonna go to the next picture because she is the one that organizes. We have a ton of like extracurricular sports teams that count. She would like soccer. This is Boise Entrepreneur Week. We won the belt for the champion dodgeball tournament. But like, this is the stuff, like if you're gonna work with people, at least enjoy the people you're working with. And so we have like a softball team. Some of them are wearing their jerseys there, but she organizes all of this. And it's like such a great camaraderie of people that just want to like, this is a Saturday. What are you doing on a Saturday? We'll go to a dodgeball tournament. I'm like, okay, this is great. Who here has been to Boise Entrepreneur Week? Oh, okay. Yeah, check that out though. It's a really fun event. So yeah, she said, I was talking to her yesterday. I was like, Adriana, you have 15 years of experience. And she was like, well, yeah, I mean, I worked at, what's the affiliate marketing one that Count used to be, but not, do you know what that, ClickBank. Yeah, that one. She used to work at ClickBank, which was a startup at the time. And then one of her friends referred her to Count. So that's how she got in. So a lot of referrals, a lot of word of mouth. What's your superpower? Out of the box thinking and problem solving. She is great at this. She used to be a customer success person on our second floor. Now she literally moved up, just directly up to product marketing. And so she's researching other competitors and seeing like, what are they saying about us? And like, how can we structure our marketing to make sure that doesn't come off that way, or how are they like twisting it, So she is always looking and figuring out how can we improve this or change the way we're phrasing things. So any advice? She said, working in tech can be very rewarding. You got to work on problems using cutting edge innovation and innovative technology. And she's right. It's so rewarding. This is Joyelle. I'm gonna make sure I'm not like running through this. Okay, I'm doing okay. So Joyelle is our partner sales enablement. We have 2 enablement people. We have Paul. We call him Tall Paul. He's awesome. And then we also have Joyelle. And Joyelle used to work for 24 years in a financial services, she worked at Wells Fargo. Anyway, and she did like a lot of DEI training and a lot of just employee internal trainings, but our sales enablement people are always making sure that we're on the up and up of like, what's going on? What are we learning about? They are brilliant. And they do a lot of like one-on-ones, like, hey, do you need extra help doing X, Y, and Z? I'm like, tech has resources, guys. It's great. Also, she said that I think she was recruited by us, but through LinkedIn. So that's why it says LinkedIn there. What's your superpower? Adaptability. Change is constant, especially in the technology industry. She's always letting us know, hey, this is changing. You got to get up on this. Joyelle, she's also like the office mother figure. So she has a lot of advice. So just buckle up. So a lot of little takeaways I saw were you're just as capable. Like you were just as capable of anybody else. Don't be afraid because it's like tech and you're like, I don't know what to do. No, you're just as capable. Be confident, take pride in your skills and accomplishments. Build a supportive network, seek out mentors. Who in here has a mentor? Just show of hands. All right. 3. We're going to work on that. But seek out mentors, attending networking events. I like how she mentions emotional support. Keep learning, obviously, because she's the enablement gal. And then honing in on your skills and focusing on that. You can do anything. All right, Riley. Riley was our front desk girl she started as an admin assistant. So you like walk in and you got to take the elevator up. There's nothing on the first floor other than like the bodega and Sid's garage and stuff like that. But there's nothing to see. And Riley just got promoted like a week and a half ago to fulfillment analyst. So now she's up with our customer success team. And so she got her foot in the door by just being was the front desk gal for like a year. And now she's there. We also have another gal, Alyssa, and she used to be our front desk admin too. And she did that for a few years. And now she's a part of our events team. So that's like, if it's not the position that you intention or like you think you want, it's a great way to just get your foot in the door. And that's a lot of ways that you can do it. I think that I did that kind of with Boise State. I was an intern and I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Gotta hire me after graduation. Anyway, so Riley has 1 year experience. She says she started as an admin and then she just got this new role. But yeah, there's Riley. This photos from our Indian happy hour. We did like different cultural happy hours for a hot minute. Now we just have regular happy hours. We had a St. Patrick's Day one the other day. That was pretty fun. So, I mean, I got Michaela repping her Google shirt when we did our Google migration. We all got like swagged out with Google and that was really fun. So I thought that was like, hey, we work in tech, wear the Google shirt. So there's Riley. Let's see her superpower. She says with working with many others, I have more that have like, cause she's working with people that are just raking in through data and it's like, she's like, I'm a more creative thinker. So she offers creative solutions that may not have been as obvious to others. And she's wonderful. I've worked with her throughout different like committees and planning events and things like that. And she does have a lot of really creative solutions. Any advice? Even if you don't have a background in tech, there are plenty of roles that require different backgrounds, and it's a great way to gain more exposure in the tech world. Oh. All right, Riley. Thank you for that. All right, we have Jamie Conchella. I just love her. Like she's actually, so we have an internal mentorship program. And it's this gal, Jamie, and another gal I work with, Amber, and they've like match made us and put us into little mentor groups, and we have like mentorship check-ins, and she's like all behind organizing that. And so, and she's about a whole bunch of like female empowerment groups. And I think that's why I secretly love her too. She just did like a whole snowboarding trip. And it was like women who ride snowboards, like as some sort of foundation. It was like fighting breast cancer too. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. You're cool. We'd be friends. She has 11 years of experience. She talks about she started marketing and advertising. She had no idea she'd end up in software. And so, but her skills, she's like, oh no, these are useful in this industry. So I applaud her for that. Let's see. What's your superpower? The ability to translate complex subjects into basic concepts. Again, that's really what we're all doing here. So we're trying to take the machine learning and explain that and how this all works. And, like we can tell, are you a fraudster or not before, like once you even just get to the page and your email, it's connected to all sorts of crazy data, Neptune web, a whole bunch of crazy, freaky, stocky things. But we're keeping everyone safe. And we're eliminating fraud. Any advice? Just because you think you may not be a technical person doesn't mean you aren't the right fit for the industry. Many skill sets are still transferable. Okay. This gal, Star, I don't really know her very well at all, but she was like, I would love to participate in your thing. And I was like, okay, yes, please. I will take all the different aspects I can take. So senior fraud analyst. So Count has many large companies have their own like fraud department sort of a thing. And so Count, what they do is, we can either manage your entire stuff or we can train your people to work with our people, and you can do that. So there's like different options. You can get like the full service or like just a little bit. So depending on what you're needing. So she has 13 years of experience, and she started, I guess, working at bodybuilding.com, which is a client of ours. So we get a lot of, people that might have worked at one company and now they're with us. So we're like, okay, we won you over. But so, she used to do fraud at bodybuilding, and that's how she got over to Count. What's your superpower? Systems, thinker, and empathy. I think Leah's was empathy as well. We need people to care. If you're just like, I work in tech. No, like you don't. No, we don't need the robot. No, we need people that like care. And I think that's why we also have all of these like different committees and things like that. Her advice, you can read this here, but I highlighted, I genuinely believe anyone can learn a skill they set their mind to. Tech is no different. And she's right. She's right. They're all right. Anyway, so this is a photo from yesterday. Just want to say, when you're applying or you're trying to find a company, I'm a culture queen. Like I need to have that company culture. That's so important for me. And I think because of my role as well, I'm always joining more groups and things like that, because then I can secretly get photos of things, and then I have more fun content to push on social media, because like, hi, machine learning is not fun, but like, hey, we're like at this dodgeball tournament. That's fun, So trying to highlight the company culture. But we have a lot of really fun opportunities at Count. We have, I'm a part of this group called Grow, and it's like, about professional development and how can we do more networking with other tech programs in the Valley, like iWit and things like that. Also, we have a casual work environment, and it is the best thing ever. We had a sales kickoff meeting, and it was at what is it called? Hillcrest Country Club. And, they had a real send out a memo, and it was like, please dress nice. Absolutely no jeans. And so people were like, oh man, I got to go out and buy some slacks. Like I don't even own like nice clothes. So, by the time Thursday rolls around, people were in like joggers and leggings. I mean, they're like Lululemon, but but still, like, we're the company that has like the bean bags underneath the stairwell, and like the little secret nooks and crannies and fun seating. And it was just like, oh yeah. And by the way, it's like all Herman Miller stuff. So if you're familiar with that, that's a little Toxicology. So I think that's also partly because our GM is just awesome too. So he has great taste. I'll say that. So casual work environment. Also, I like to say give back and give a crap. But that's like the people we're working with. We have charitable committees. That's the group that volunteered yesterday. We have activities committees. Like I'm the one organizing 5th floor patio yoga in June, and we have smoothies afterwards. Like we've moved on from the ice cream parties. So anyway, I just want to say, let's connect. I live on LinkedIn. I wish I was like, I do live on LinkedIn. I know all the ins and outs. If you want help optimizing your LinkedIn profile, definitely reach out to me. I just did like, Thomas was in the training. I did like 45 trainings recently on just, hey, if you don't have the keywords up in the top and it just says your job description, you're doing something wrong. Just like change that, please. But yeah, honestly, I'm going to say, please follow Count because like, hi, that's me. And also I'm happy to connect you with anybody that you saw in the presentation today. Like maybe like, oh, you like, I think I want to be their friend. Yeah, I'm happy to connect you guys. And they can maybe, meet you for coffee. I didn't really tell them that when I gave them the survey, but surprise, surprise. They're good. They're all wonderful, wonderful people. I'm sure they'd be happy to. So follow Count, preferably on LinkedIn too. Just saying. I'm trying to get to like 22,000 this year, so it's a personal goal. But I just want to say that you've got this. Use LinkedIn, attending any networking opportunities, becoming involved with iWit. I mean, you all are here, so I'm really proud of you. That's a start, but you can do it. It's going to be fine. Like me in this presentation that I was nervous a little get out for. Still am a little. And now I'll just have some Q&A. So if you have any questions for me or any thoughts, I'm shocked you all sat through this. So thank you. I must have not totally bored you to death. So I appreciate that. Anybody? Anybody? Don't be shy. Yeah.
I feel so special. I'm like Lizzo or something here.
You are. She was here a few years ago.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah, for Tree Fort.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
So I quit my job about a year ago. I worked for Travelers Insurance for about 22 years, which is sad. But just empathy is so huge. We did like the Strengths Finder thing about 8 years ago or something. And my key strength was empathy. And people laughed like, oh, that's so funny in a technical sort of. And I thought, oh my, you guys are such fools because like in a product owner role or something where you're kind of bridging the gap between the business and the technology groups, like people are like, they hate each other because they're not speaking the same language. And because the technology teams are just notorious for not understanding. And the business teams would say, you're the only person who understands what we're actually trying to do here. And it's incredible. Or even if you're sitting in a meeting and you're seeing that someone's asking a question, someone else is answering it the entirely wrong way because they're not understanding. It's huge. It's not just women, I don't think, who have empathy, obviously, but it's just such a key part. So that's just really important. Thanks.
I love that. Thank you. All right, we got Paige in the back. Oh, we have Thanks for breaking the ice. I can see why empathy is your top. Yeah.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Paige.
So I nanny Oakland, this girl I nanny, and her mom worked forever in the man's job, and she quit because men were taking her ideas and getting credits and bonuses for it constantly. And so finally she left. And so basically my question is like, what is your number one thing to tell women that are struggling to get their voice out in a man's job, and what's something they should do to like branch out and, grow and not deal with it in a sense?
That's loaded question. Good question. Thanks. Oh my goodness. I always go to my mentor immediately. I have a mentor right now And she is like, do you know what Anna's role is? She's like she's VP of digital solutions at Equifax, I think. Yeah. She walks into a room and she just commands this, like, she just has this presence about her. And like, also, she takes no bullshit and people do not give her any of it. She just like she owns it. And I'm like, so maybe, I don't know, I'd talk to maybe seek like a mentor advice, but also honestly, like I feel like we have a lot of us have really good relationships with our managers too. And like maybe also like just talking to somebody that has like either a mentor or a manager or has some similar experience. And I don't know. I mean, join IWIT, man. Get a whole bunch of fiery women that will back your ass up and be like, oh, that is bullshit. Also, maybe talk to HR too. Our VP of HR is incredible too. So she was at the mentorship speed dating yesterday. But I don't know if I answered your question. Okay, we're going to go with that. You guys, you had a hand up there.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Sort of two things. I wanted to kind of super affirm what one of your employee Lee was saying about like the need for people in non-technical roles to translate technical subject matter into like layperson kind of terminology.
Yeah.
Because I am a startup founder and I have been working with developers. I'm sort of quasi-technical, but it's incredible to me how much of the instruction that I give to developers, like it is like coding in its own way, because like you put in a command to the machine and it gives you literally back like what you asked for, but with all these like mistakes that you thought were like like it would just skip over, like understand.
Mm-hmm.
So having people in your organization that can like be those sort of valence layers of like translation is incredibly critical, and I find like new ways of observing that every day. So she was like really on point with that.
Oh my God, I love that. I'll make sure to tell her that.
Yeah, that was just something I thought. The second thing is a question. I just wanted to ask generally if you're seeing more women like in technical roles since like the time you started with Count or the time you sort of got into tech.
Oh yeah.
Like then versus now.
Yeah. We had an intern that was an engineer. Her name was April. She just got, I think she was hired on as like a developer thing. We have, I invited, we have a software engineer, Jasmine. I was like, you should come. And she's like, I'm out of town. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I should maybe feature you. But yeah, no, there's a lot more women joining, I would say, more so than not. And also the women that are here, because they deal with like, you know, just this male, they're sassy. They're sassy and they're spicy. Like Adriana, she will hiss at people. I can say this because she does this. She's like, no, don't do that. I'm like, boundaries. It's just boundaries. I'm like, I like that, you know, like, you know, there's a lot of really strong women in tech, and I just want to encourage more of that and more of that. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. I hope so.
No, it does. I'm pro hissing. And
she is awesome. She also wears like, on Count, or at Count, we usually wear, on Wednesdays we wear pink. And so we all have like these Count branded, you know, like polos. And I finally got in that club where I got one. I was like, yeah, I mean, it is a large and it's big and baggy, but I like roll it up and I'm like, okay, this is going to work. But I was like, oh my God, I can sit at the cool kids table. So that was fun. But yeah, no, she also wears a wolf shirt on Wednesdays too. Yeah, she's a badass. And I'm like, all the way. Yes.
Hi, I'm Jillian. I am relatively new to the community and am a former corporate development executive from a Fortune 50 tech company.
Oh.
But I am wondering how many women are in executive roles in tech here in the Valley?
That's a really good point. Yes. I know like with our company, we have like our Wendy is like our chief customer experience officer. We have our VP of HR, Lynette. But you're right. There aren't a ton. I'm not sure, you know, Jess Furman would be a really good, she could definitely come back on that. I'm going to circle back or link you guys up, and you probably know who she is because you're wearing the Hackford badge, you know, but I don't know. But there aren't a lot of women in leadership roles, I feel like, and let's change that.
Yeah, I just had a comment. I mean, the common trend that I see, I work accounts. So the common trend I see is the empathy, right, that we talk about, and the perspective that women bring. It's really important. And when you pair that with confidence and tenacity, it's not ever surprising to see them explode in their position and go head to head or be the number one sales rep like Riley was. It's very common. So I think kind of to what you were saying as well, just the empathy, you guys have this different perspective that men don't, however you want to slice it. At the same time, when you just combine that with confidence and the tenacity, the world is yours at that point.
Thanks, Thomas. All right. Was it Kate?
I'm coming.
So I love how you've structured your project. My question is, what's next for your project? Are you going to expand? Are you going to go social with it? I think there's potential here.
Okay, perfect. I love that. Also, I never use PowerPoint ever. So I was like, no, just keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, that's been like our motto lately. So I started like a women's group at Count, and then we all realized we don't have a lot of bandwidth because we're doing a lot of other things. So we merged our group with Grow. So now we have guys, and I mean, we would have had guys before, but now we also have a little bit more budget. But we had like a unconscious bias discussion, and like for International Women's Day, we had like a guest speaker like come in, and we live streamed it and things like that. And it was like a global thing. I want to personally just become more involved with iWit. This is my first like iWit thing. And Jess was like, it was like New Year's, and I was like, okay. And Jess was like, yeah, do you want to speak? And I was like, sure. Because that was one of my goals this year. So I think just becoming more involved with iWit more, that would be something personal I want to do. But yeah, I think I could do more social.
I mean, replicate that, with
for sure.
other.
Thanks, Kate. I love that. I love the little suggestion. Thank you. All right. Guys, good. I'm doing okay on time. That was a real concern for me. I'm constantly late, running behind. All right. Do we have anybody else? Any other thoughts, questions? I really appreciate all of you for coming and for your time, and follow Count and follow iWit. And thank you all for being here, and happy Tree Fort. Thank you. All right. Nobody died. Okay. Whew.